But I miss you in the mornings when I see the sun.
Here we have Hazel. This is Hunter from the last video, the big gray gelding. This is his sister, so they're from the same breeding operation, same bloodlines. And she is just a little bit behind her brother only because of maturity. I imagine she's a younger 3-year-old than he is. She's just a little bit more skittish, They have a little different personality, and I'm not sure if it's so much that their personality differs so much than they are. There's a difference in maturity level. So she has taken just a little bit more time on the ground, desensitizing. You could see there, I don't let my horses eat grass off the ground. And I didn't knock her too bad because there is a metal clip on that lead line, but on the lunge line. But I did do enough that she said, whoa, I'm not going to eat anymore, because I cannot stand having horses that eat while you're trying to work them. It is like the most annoying thing possible. And I really, at this stage of the game, her walking on the end of the lead line, I'm sorry, I keep saying lead line, on the end of the lunge line, while in a nice, relaxed way, that is all I really want at this stage. So if she trots because the pressure, or she picks up a little canter, that's okay, but I'm going to try and shut it down. And that's what a lot of this session on this particular day was for her. We are about 10 to 12 sessions in, and I've done a lot of groundwork and just getting her to quiet and not be so afraid of things or me. So she was one that if you did anything, she was like in flight mode. She was like gone. So just kind of getting her used to all the equipment took a fair amount of time with this horse. So here she has a great walk, but she can't really hold it, And another trainer did work with her a little bit, and I think that his training philosophy was more of like keep their feet moving constantly, run them around a little bit, and that's kind of not really what I do. I'm not going to run them around too much. I really want them to be more slow and controlled. So I'm kind of backpedaling a little bit here with what the other trainer did. I don't want her to trot around me so much. I want her to have a nice forward walk and really stretch forward and downward and relax into that walk more than I want a horse that's a little flighty like this. I don't really want them to run around me too much, because I know that if they keep running around me, that's going to get them more and more amped up. And I don't really want the horse to be too amped up. And I don't really want to run them around until they're tired either, because at this age, they are, I think she's a young 3-year-old. I would have to look at her papers to be 100% sure. But I don't want them running around in the round pen, or anywhere for that matter, just running around me. Because of course it's bad for their tendons, ligaments, joints, everything. I think that there is science out there that says that good impact, that force of impact with their feet on the ground does improve bone density, but you have to be really careful of how that impact is moving. That concussive force, that's what it is moving through their bones and their joints. That's great, but you have to be really careful of how you're achieving that, right? And here, I'm getting after her a little bit because she's wanting to stop by the gate that you can't see. and then call to her buddies that are on the right side of the frame here. So when she does that, I am making her work a little bit. I'm making her kind of move her feet, if you will, for just a second, not too long. As you saw in here, she's totally watching her buddies. She is zoned in on them. I think a horse is being moved around or something. So I want to, and I start jumping, right? Because I want her attention to be more on me and what we're doing in this session than what's going on with her buddies outside the frame. So I'm going back to just kind of getting her to walk on the lunge line quietly. And here I did ask for a little trot. I want to make sure that when I'm working with these young horses, I'm the one asking for that upward transition. I'm the one asking for the downward transition. I'm the one that's instigating the movement of their feet, not them dictating what's happening in our session. So if I ask for an upward, like right there, it's important that she stays going the same direction, like what I asked for there, and she did it. So I'm letting her have a little break and come in. But I think me telling the horse when and how I want that transition is really important for the youngsters. So again, I'm just kind of asking her to settle down a little bit. She's trotting on her own whim right now, and I want her to walk. And I don't want her to run in towards me or stop and turn in real fast. I really want to make a substantial effort to get a nice forward walk in with this horse. And I'm gently asking her to walk, but when she stops too much, that's when I'm going to ask for a more forward. So we have to, I think of it kind of like a balance, one of those things in the playground where, a seesaw. So you have to find kind of a balance there, so that the horse can get more in tune with your cues, right? So that's why I'm working so hard on how much whoa am I really saying. I'm saying enough whoa so that you walk, and then you hold that walk. And here she didn't want to hold the walk. She wants to go forward. So yeah, I'm going to let her go forward for a little bit, but I'm also encouraging her to keep going at this consistent speed, right? So going forward is okay, but then she's going to go forward for a little bit in a slowing, relaxed walk speed or trot speed. And here she's just kind of running around like a chicken with her head cut off. She's worried about the horses, what they're doing on the other side of the fence. And I'm just going to stay really even-keeled and consistent. And, I'm trying to kind of bump her a little bit with this halter to bring her nose in. But I don't want her to just slam on the brakes and turn towards me. I want her to have a nice controlled halt on the circle. That's the end goal. That's where we're going with this. It's going to take a long time. At this point, we really are just, encouraging her to feel what it feels like to have that saddle on and move at a consistent speed. She's getting a little distracted, and that's okay. We'll just take what we have that day and work with it. So here she's, wanting to trot around, and that's fine. Then we're going to trot around a little bit. With the nose a little to the inside is really important too. So I'm just encouraging her, consistently asking her, bumping her a little bit. And I'm making her move because she wants to watch what's happening with her buddies and not pay attention to what I'm saying. And I'm asking her to do something different now. I'm asking her to stay still, stand still, but she doesn't want to, engage with me. So asking her again to whoa, I'm shortening that lunge line, asking her to whoa, and just stand quietly. Standing quietly is one of the things that I really like to enforce at the beginning. I think that it's really important that you don't have a horse that constantly moves his feet and they don't just stop because they're dead tired. There is an element of obedience, right, in standing still for a few seconds. At the beginning, you can only stand still for a few seconds. It's like a toddler. Like, they can't stand still for that long of a time either. So here I'm doing a side pull, but I'm also doing a little pressure on her barrel for some hind leg disengagement, hind quarter disengagement. She's not really wanting to pay attention to me. And like I said, we're just going to work with the horse that we have on this particular day. She wants to watch what's going on everywhere else, but I'm just going to stick with her. My body is almost all the way up against her body. I'm not putting too much pressure on her, and I saw it, I got a little bit of a head give in her poll and her neck area, so I said, okay, that's it. We're not going to push this, because right now with this type of a horse and this age of a horse and how many sessions I have in, her friends are going to win every time. She's going to watch her friends every time. And I'm not going to run her into the ground. I don't do that to horses' legs. I don't do that to horses' joints. So I am just going to kind of keep consistent, keep kind of working her a little bit here and there, trying to entice her with my voice commands that this is a fun training session. Oh, and this is when the owner, one of his friends, was visiting, and her dog was just running crazy around the round pen. So a little PSA, if you have, dogs that are not very, the dog was good, but if it's not incredibly obedient, don't let them just run around while your trainer is working with a young horse. That would be helpful. So her attention's on the dog. I'm just going to take a little break. I'm telling her, the dog is there, but I'm, my space and my boundaries are more important. So I'm just going to work now on bringing her body closer to me on the rail, and I'm clucking, I'm, asking her to move her feet. And here at the beginning, I think I've only done this I don't know if I've ever done this with this horse before this. The first thing I want to do is get her to realize that me being up high is not a bad thing. So just kind of encouraging her to look at me while I'm up here, sniff me. If she walks her body a little bit towards me, that's great. I'm telling her, good girl. When her saddle is even with me, that's when I'm going to, praise her with my voice, maybe give her a little scratch eventually when she gets up next to me. And again, this is a horse that was really skittish at the beginning, and there's a giant dog running around and, a million other things. So patience is really key with these guys. I feel like especially right now, since I am a traveling horse trainer, I go from farm to farm, I have to really just be like patient with a lot of the situations that are in front of us, and moving with them and not getting upset about certain things, and just kind of like going with the flow is so important with the young horses and horses in general. Like, they can feel when you're not going with the flow. And isn't that like why we ride horses, is to kind of get into that zone, into that flow state? Like, that is why I train horses, is for that flow state. So here she's getting the saddle closer to me. You can see I kind of use my hand a little bit as a gesture. But for the most part, I'm just kind of like clucking. I'll swing the rope a little bit if I want her to move her feet. And then when she gets to the point that I want her, that's when I say, okay, you don't have to move your feet anymore. You can just kind of stand here and chill. So she goes back and forth quite a bit. This dog's running around. Like I said, there's a bunch of stuff happening, and really the game is, can you bring your back up to me? Can I teach you how to move your legs towards me? And that's when we get to stop. Like right there. Would have been great if she stopped a little bit before. She just doesn't quite understand what I'm asking her yet. But she does get it. Like, she eventually does. Just petting her, but also encouraging her to move forward a little bit, because like, I want her to stand near the side of the round pen, but I want her to do it like right underneath me, right? And for a horse that's been conditioned to run away from mountain lions jumping on their back from up above, this is a scary thing, and I understand that. I totally get that. Here she got a little closer, so I got to give her a little pat. I'm going to put my foot on the saddle and kind of rub it on the saddle and make some noise with my boot. Put my hand on the horn. Rock the saddle side to side. Oh, there's that dog again. Which she's doing pretty good, like, with the dog running right there and standing still with me above her. So I'm happy with that. She's starting to just like relax. You see her chew a little bit there. Love that. And you can also see the stomping. That's just because of the frickin' horse flies that were all around us. Here I'm just like, okay, so this is, I think, the first time I'm putting any weight on the saddle. Putting my leg over her. It might be the second time putting my leg over her, but I've never sat in the saddle. So I'm really leaning on there, just kind of pushing on the saddle so she can kind of get where I'm going with all of this. I don't think today that I walk around on her back, just because the dog's running around, and I want to save that for a day where there's the least amount of stuff going on. But just leaning on her there, asking her to stay still, be relaxed, even though there's a million things going on. She's doing great, I'm kind of asking her to move a little bit to the side now. She pushed up real close. Totally paying attention to whoever's on the other side of the fence and not me. So I'm going back to something that she knows, which is the side pull with the neck, where I'm asking her to keep her body stationary and just really bend through that neck with the least amount of pressure. And, this is a young horse. She can get her head her nose all the way to her back hip. But I'm not going to ask for that today. We've definitely gotten so that I'm asking for more and more flexibility. as well as keeping her body really stationary. But I'm not asking her to go all the way back to the hip just yet. Like, I'm taking my time. Eventually, at the end of our 30-day session, she will do that with very little pressure, but it's like any kind of flexibility. Like, you want to take your time. So I'm going back to what we just worked on and seeing if she semi-remembers what we did. Takes her just a little bit. She walked a little further than I would like just there, but still lines up pretty well with my body. I'm just kind of rocking the horn back and forth, telling her she's a good girl. Ask for a little side pull there. I'm really happy with where we got in this session from where we started, because, she started and was a freaking hot mess. And now she's actually standing still, walking up to me on the side of the round pen. So I'd say, like, she came a pretty good ways in this session. I like to keep it short and sweet, this horses, and you can see it pays off, because here she walked right up, rested her back leg. She's looking good. She looks relaxed. She looks chill. Like, if I really had all the time in the world, I'd probably get on this horse right now, but I've got other horses to work at other farms. So I've always got to find a really sweet spot with these horses. Each session is about 45 minutes to an hour, and I think that's a good place to be with a young horse. It's not too long, it's not too short. You can get some lessons across, and you can have a relaxed horse while you do it. But yeah, the side pulls, getting her right up to this. I'm starting to swing my leg over. I think that doing this helps immensely, as opposed to just like jumping on the back of the horse and going for a chaotic ride. I like to have my horses respect me. Now, I totally understand that sometimes you have to just get it done. People pay for that as well. So, but I think that this creates more of a relaxed horse that's an easier first ride. And she did great. I just sat on her, I think that was for the first time. And she didn't even walk off, and that's what I want to see a young, immature horse do. I want to really see them, like I said, relax into the session and enjoy it. So I think I do it one more time. I think I ask for her to walk up. Yep, walk up to the side of the round pen one more time, just to reinforce it. And she walked up so close there, I had to move my feet. And we'll work on that later. Like today, I just wanted to see the obedience factor, and she totally did that. And thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe.